these videos on these things because it makes me have to think about how do I do it when I've just done it for so many times that, when you know people who have done something for a long time, they don't think about it anymore, they just do it. So anyway, then it makes me make mistakes more often. But anyway, what I do on this piece, my 22-inch piece, I'm going to go ahead and see, there's even my yellow line on it, so I'll have to wipe that off. I actually messed up. Drew over this for the side pieces, the 7-inch side pieces, and I'll just take a little bit of lacquer thinner and wipe that off. Comes right off with that. Might take a little soap and water, I don't know. But anyway, should come off with the lacquer thinner. Or acetone now, everything's acetone. So what I do is I get it in place where I have my 2-inch bottom overlap. Maybe even kind of center it. And then I'll start on the right hand side of the car and I'll work my way to the left, because if you start on the left, you're going to have all the pedals in the way and all your cuts are going to be made over there. So you start on the right hand side and glue it so that it's straight up and down. That way you know you got it straight. You have to have a nice straight cut here when you take this piece. So I usually use the edge of the stuff and start right here so I know I'm vertical. And I'll work my way all the way around so that if it walks a little bit, by the time you get to the other side, you still have plenty of room to correct that. So leave yourself a little bit of extra on the top, a couple inches about an inch or so on the top that you can work with, an inch and a half or 2 inches on the bottom. Center it, make sure it's straight up and down, glue it in place, and then just start working your way around cutting. Alright, I'll show you how that works. Alright, so as I go around, put this in place like this, cut this. Then what I do is put a line here with the pencil, or with your use your crayon or use your chalk, and cut it. Make sure it's a little bit above where you want to cut, because it seems like whenever you put it exactly where you want, it always ends up being short. So I always make it a little bit longer, and then I'm just going to cut that with the scissors and lay it into place. Okay, so make sure that you only glue along the top edge when you're doing this portion here, and lay it into place, and then you do your cuts as you go on just the top and let it fall into place. The bottom you're going to do later. Oh, Jesus. I got dirt on my lens, I think. It looks all blurry. I don't know why. Okay, so anyway, you go ahead and you set your carpet in this way, and you work your way along, working my way along here, cutting as I go. Only bummer is I should have cut this piece. If you have a ramp, you need this a little bit longer, but it's going to have another ½ inch of foam, and then the other piece is going to lay over that. So I'm thinking it's going to lay over it. You might end up having to rip this thing out and do it 2 or 3 times. These are really not easy to do with the ramp, so that's why you buy a little extra carpet. But that's how it's going to look. You can see how it's going there, how that's going to look really nice when it's laid in place. And then I got to recut this so that it tucks perfectly in the corner, just like it is over here. You can see the carpet dust on there, but it's nicely tight in the corner, and then around here over this side, and then down the other side. That's really a lot of compound cuts, so it's a little bit difficult to do. So after you get the top done on one half, then I fall back and do the other half, and I was able to actually pull that down a little bit more, tighten it up a little bit. I kind of like it to go out onto the floor a little bit more than that, but it'll actually be fine for what I'm doing. Because by the time I set my other piece, set my foam in, build it up, it should be just fine, and then the carpet's going to end up about right here. So, okay, let's go to the other side and keep going. So doing this side is always a little tougher because you got all the pedals in the way. What you do is flip this down, cut just like this. Cut right here down to your steering column, so you kind of know the distance that it goes down. And remember, you're upside down and backwards, so you want to cut that around at an angle so you get around that nice steering column really nice. It's kind of a tricky spot. I went ahead and laid it out. Here's what it looks like roughed in. I'm going to go ahead and finish up the bottom and then straighten this out a little bit. I got a little bit crazy over here. I messed up on my cut, but best part is that's not the part you look at when you're driving. You look at that side. So let everybody else complain about it. You get to drive the car. Okay, so I'm just going to do a little bit of tuck in here, cut this a little bit shorter, pie cut these guys, pie cut that stuff down there, tuck it in that section, and then of course glue this down so it's not so ugly up here. And cut this around this a little bit tighter and get this to look good. Alright, but that gives you the idea of how you do it, and you can go from there, make it look as good as you can. Laid this piece in, that's what it looks like. Okay, it's all laid in nice. Some of these you can, if you wanted to, you could cut this back, seam this in real nice, but I usually just overlap it like that. Then I'm going to put, and this is what your carpet padding looks like, so you just put it in. You notice it's down in here. I didn't wrap it all the way up to here. Put it down to here, and then this part will just kind of go up. And then they don't fit real tight in the corners. It doesn't have to. In fact, you want it a little bit loose. And over here, that's what that looked like after it's got this piece in, and that's going to cover up nicely in the front. And over here. So anyway, that's what that looks like. So I cut out some pieces. I cut out one 19-inch piece. Now, you know, if I'm doing a really custom job, I don't really care. This is getting floor mats, so you kind of look at the direction. You can feel the carpet. In one direction, it goes different than the other. So you should work with that direction all the way through so that all your stuff matches. The stuff you get from the carpet kit places, you know, the $75 kits and stuff, it's not even near this grade of carpet. This is marine grade, so this is real strong stuff. It'll withstand a lot of use. It won't shrink, stuff like that if it gets wet. All those things that happen to those cheap carpet kits. Before you go with one of those, you might want to consider this. Anyway, I was looking at them last night. They had ones for like $75. I don't know how that could be any good, you know, when the materials are most of that. So anyway, so I lay it out like this. I get my piece, lay it out. What I'm going to do is I take and I'll glue one side of this, get rid of that mark, it comes off. I'll glue it into the corner. See how tight I get it in there? So it's really tightly in the corner. Glue it in place, shove it under, and then cut this side. So you're only cutting one side of it. So I'll show you what that looks like after it's in. Notice real quick, I line up this part straight and I cut back straight right here, and I'll leave what's on there right here. And see now, I want this to fit really tight. So you see, notice how I had this up a little bit high. I cut it a little bit long and then trim it slowly down in to where it's exactly like this in the corner. So it comes out really clean. You have almost a seamless look when you're done. Alright, so let's take a look. Cut this into the corners real tightly, real nice here. Wrapped around here, went inside this area here so that there's only a seam going in the shadow here, and in the shadow, of course, up in the front, what we're going to do up there. I'll show you one side, probably in this video. I don't know if I'll be able to show the other side or not. It might cut off on me before I get this done, and we'll just see how it goes. So what I do is first I lay it in this area, and then what I do is after I do that, then I'll peel it up, and then I'll glue it in place, and then cut it with it glued in place, because if it's glued in, it's not going to move on you when you try and do it any other way, I found that some guys, you know, you can actually measure it and use a straight edge and a razor blade and cut it, you know, if that's what you want to do. And that might work out better for you, who knows. I just do it like this because I've been doing it so many years that it doesn't really make any difference. You know what I say? Yeah, I still got my feel. It goes this way is harder, this way is easier. Yeah, I still have the right sheen. If you put it in backwards, sometimes you can see it. With this color, it's not really too bad. This is called something. A lot of times I'll get salt and pepper, but not on this one. I decided just to go with the gray. Alright, so I got this one here laid in place. Got a little bit far away over here. You want it just far enough away so that you can tuck it down to where it's supposed to be. So you kind of get a little bit more bigger piece than what you need, and you tuck it in. So that's the trick to it. I'm not that picky about it. I mean, if you guys want to spend a little more time, you can probably get a little bit nicer once the seats are in here, which I didn't end up getting the seat upholstery that I wanted. The guy who I usually go to get stuff done, he doesn't like outside materials, so he was just like, no, I won't do it. And I was like, well, that's ridiculous. But he's so cheap, I'll still go back to him. And I guess when you figure for the price what he charges to do a whole interior, as cheap as he does it, and that's Garza's Upholstery in El Monte. As cheap as he does it, he can't change anything. If he changed his system slightly, he wouldn't make any money. So it's kind of understandable. I thought he might do it because I was gonna pay him. I would have just paid him the regular price even, but he didn't want to even look at it. He goes, nope, won't do it. So don't ever bring him any outside materials, expect him to put them on. Unless you bring him TMI stuff, and he'll put those together for you. But anyway, let me show you the other side, see if I can do a little bit over there before this video cuts off. So the back side, you do the same as the other. Gotta get a little glue off there. Yeah, I just gotta use a little bit of acetone on it. Takes it off, should. I'm gonna try some paint thinner too. The old school paint thinner, they don't have it in California anymore, but I have a gallon of it. It's hidden somewhere, so I can do that because it was old before they changed the rules. And what I've got, I'm gonna try to do this front. I'm gonna do the same thing I did over there. I'm not sure if I'm gonna make it go up the ramp and then have a seam up there, or I think I just put it at the bottom. I've never done. I don't think I've ever done with a ramp. Usually they're always missing in most of the cars I had. I think I did one. It's been so long I don't remember. I'm sure I did one before. Yeah, I'll just go ahead and glue this in place like I did over there, and then finish it out. All right. Well, voila. Here we go. That's how it looks when it's all done. All right. So all I got to do now is back there. Hopefully I have enough carpet. I might need some pieces for the small